catches, isn't it? Nice smallmouth from the Susquehanna.
Out on the tidal section of the Susquehanna. Good 2 pound. Nice long. She spawned out.
There we go. Nice smallmouth bass. Caught that on a Terminator spinnerbait right here in the rocks. It was 1.8 feet deep at the rocks, and it dropped right off to 9 feet. And he hit it coming right out off the rocks in the shade. Nice bronze back.
There's the rocks right there. Bridge here. The mouth of the Susquehanna River, still in the tidal section. Hopefully we'll get a bunch more. Here we are, still up in the tidal Susquehanna. Caught that nice smallmouth. We worked up here underneath this railroad bridge, and I whipped out my crankbait. This is a Rapala Dives 2 crankbait. Goes down to 6 feet, won't run any deeper than 6 feet. This nice 3 pound largemouth wanted that. So really get a mixed bag up here. You get smallmouth that are with the potential of around 2.5, 3 pounds or even bigger if a little bit of luck, and largemouth right up to the same trophy class that we catch in the sassafras. So, all right, let's let this one go. Ready? Nice fish.
Susquehanna, that's 95 bridge in front of us. That's I-95 south and north. And then as you come down this way, this is the railroad bridge. This is where we just caught another nice smallmouth, got off right at the boat. And then down there beyond that, the next bridge, that's the Route 40 bridge. And then there's Havre de Grace, right where we launched, and then across the bay is Sassafras, about 30 minutes away.
Right. Moved up the way up here. Now we're at the 95 bridge. Since the last time you saw us, I had a 3 pound smallmouth that came off.
Right at the boat.
Oh, man.
Boy, was it fat.
It goes, but we'll get some more. There's another nice largemouth. Let me take this one off and we'll measure it. Yeah, 15.5, almost 16 inches. There she goes. She's going to jump. On the Rapala DT6 in the wood. So hard there, didn't they, Steve?
Oh, yeah, nice smallmouth.
May have pulled like a 4 or 5 pound fish.
Yeah.
Ready?
See where he came from?
Right after people working.
Real shallow water normally. We're on a high tide. We had worked it with crankbaits and everything. We saw bass striking at things and chasing things in at the shore. They're on their beds and the water temperature is 60.1 degrees. Can you believe that?
All right. Nice fat belly on that. It was a spinnerbait fish. Worked this whole area with crankbaits and some other baits and caught some smaller fish. Had a couple 12-inch and 14-inch fish, but we were just saying, man, these bigger fish aren't hitting where they should be, and then this one hits. Like to have that in a tournament.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 13 inches.
But here we got another one on the crankbait. This is about 10 minutes after I just caught that bigger one, but that's a nice fish right there, too. That's a man's crankbait. Mid-minus has been working real well.
Earlier was longer than that fish and didn't weigh half of what that one weighs. That's 14 inches. You couldn't weigh that in a tournament.
Yeah, look how big it is, too.
Unbelievable. Spinnerbait, all the traditional baits that aggressive fish hit. But I think because of this higher tide, we couldn't get any bites on it. So I said, all right, we worked through here twice with our spinnerbaits and crankbaits and didn't get a bite. So I'm going to go back in with the soft plastic. I'm throwing that Strike King 3X. That's that new Cyberflex. Same thing as a Senko, except it's just you can catch more than one fish per bait. It's loaded with salt. And this is what a lot of guys have been running into. They've been catching fish like this. It's a good, solid fish. This fish is barely 15 inches. Now, it would keep, but that fish weighs a good 2.5, maybe even a little more with the weight it's got in it. Need to come off.
Came off the shallow wood.
I saw the whole
That's
fish.
a man's mid-minus.
I want to get off of this wood here so we can actually try to catch another fish. These fish seem to be a little congregated here. 15-inch fish have to be.
Yeah.
That's why, man. You could throw a good 2.5 pound fish back.
Yeah.
It's a 1/4 inch short.
On that man's crankbait. Right here. Right, that's nice. Oh, yes. Caught him flipping.
Look at that fish. Look at her back. That's a female. That one's got eggs. There's no mistaking.
Oh, yeah. Look at the eggs in that.
Look, big, nice fish we catch in these rivers. You know, there's 4-pound class fish, but when they've got bellies full of food and eggs like that, that puts them into the real trophy class. Let's get her aerated here. You can really tell when they're big fish like this because when you pick them up, when they're really huge, you've got to be careful because they weigh so much though actually you'll break their jaw by holding them. That's how I could tell that fish was over 5.
Yeah.
All right, let's let her go. Caught that on the Strike King 3X0. It's Senko imitators.
Loaded with Mega Strike. This is the launching ramp at Havre de Grace. This is called Tidings Memorial Park. And you're going to launch out of here. This is right off 95. And this is the launching ramp. You launch here. You go straight out in front of us. That would take you across the bay to the Sassafras, the Elk. We go out to the left, head up around to the I-95 bridges.
With fish, we had 2 fish come up and hit the spinnerbait. Then I caught that smallmouth and now this one. But the 2 that hit, big fish. I don't know why they missed it. They short struck the blade on the spinnerbait, but very nice sized fish. Look at the belly on that. That's still got eggs in it, or that much food. One of the 2. We're out here, show them how big the bay is where we are right now, Mia. We're right out in the middle of the bay. You're right, you can really see it. School spawn. See the spots? All right, they could be post-spawn, Steve. And that's why they have the spots on them. Now they're done and they're out here eating. Let's back off here. I don't want to scare them. I think there's more than that here.
Striper?
Yep.
Yep.
God darn, that fish pulled hard. Not that big, but nice. That's the line size for you. Oh.
Nice fish, though.
Oh yeah, good one.
Let's see him. Hold him up.
I can grab a hold of them there, so.
Mouth, smallmouth, and a striper, all within 50 yards.
There we go.
This is the Chesapeake Bay, the Susquehanna Flats, right outside of Tidings Marina.
Tidings. We're up here fishing the Susquehanna Flats. We're back in one of our better spots. It's kind of a secluded spawning area in the back of one of these creeks. As you can see, this is a bass that's completely spawned out. They're starting to hit post-spawn. See those spots down in the grass? Got a little leech, freshwater leech on her.
I just caught one on a buzz bait just a few minutes ago.
We probably caught about, say, at least 10 bass, and they've all been around 13 to 15 inches. Most of them wouldn't keep, about 2 or 3. This is probably my 3rd or 4th one that would keep, and Steve's got 1 or 2 that would keep, but the rest have all been undersized. What we're doing is fishing a spawning area, and we're catching the fish that are post-spawn. Most of the fish that we're catching are running small. There's been 3 or 4 boats around us the whole time, and they're saying the same thing, catching smaller fish. But apparently, if you stay with it, look at that fish, it's been caught before. See, catch and release really works. It's been caught numerous times. If you stay with it, keep changing your baits, change presentations. That fish was extremely shallow. But Steve and I were just talking about how we think we can catch a bigger fish work going off a little further away from the male. So you really want to experiment your depth, experiment lures. Most of these fish are hitting crankbaits and spinnerbaits this time of year with a few that will hit the jig and the worm.
Tell them what kind of crankbaits and the colors and stuff we're using.
Rapala DT6. Let's let this one go. Swam away, nothing wrong with her. Rapala DT6, Strike King series crankbaits, anywhere from the series 4 all the way to the real shallow 1S. There's some grass in here, so you just want to kind of rip it through the grass or burn it right over. Terminator spinnerbaits. Oklahoma, I believe, is the key. We're fishing around 3 other guys out here that are fishing a tournament, and they've all been throwing spinnerbaits, and they all asked us what bait we were throwing because they weren't catching as many fish as us. So I believe it's the titanium wire, but it's also this Oklahoma blade. Most of the guys are throwing a willow blade right now, which has a good amount of flash, but not as much vibration. And if you can tell by looking at the watercolor, we've had some storms over the last week, so that water's got muddied up. You really need that vibration. You add that blade with the titanium, and you've got a sweet combination.